I'm Tamara Draut. I'm Vice President of Policy and Programs at DEMOS. Thank you. Welcome to the 2009 DEMOS celebration. What an extraordinary time in our nation's history. You know, for an organization whose mission is driven by the principles of trying to create an economy where there's broadly shared prosperity, where we have a robust democracy, where we have a public sector that is engaged and responsive and revitalized, and where we have a nation that is engaged responsibly in the world. These are extraordinary times for an organization like DEMOS. Over the last 9 years, we've been building our institution, and I want to share with you a very brief history on a couple issues. You know, over these 9 years, we've started working on some issues that weren't in the forefront of our public debate. They certainly weren't on the congressional agenda by any stretch of the imagination. And I just want to give you an example of what some of that work may be. So, a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, we released the first of many reports analyzing the growth of debt among low-income households and raising a warning flag about the perils of a deregulated financial market. A couple years ago, we started looking at the need to help build a better and strengthened, revitalized public sector and working with advocates to begin building support in their states for a renewed role for government. And not too long ago, we also began a campaign to really help boost voter registration of low-income individuals in this country by enforcing the National Voting Rights Act, whose charge is to offer public assistance clients the opportunity to register to vote. None of those things seem to be of great import nationally or on the legislative agenda. Well, I'm happy to say, flash forward to 2009, and not only is a lot of the work we've been doing over the last 9 years right at the forefront of our national debate, it's also being paid attention to by the administration and by Congress. So in just the last week alone, we had meetings with senior officials at the White House and the Department of Justice to make a case for a more energetic enforcement of the National Voting Rights Act. And not only did they listen and say yes to all of our proposals, they doubled down on them and said, we wanted you to come back in 2 to 3 weeks to make sure we've made enough progress. In the same week, we sat down with Secretary Tim Geithner to talk about the administration's support for cracking down on widespread credit card abuses. As you know, the President had called the leaders of the nation's credit card companies into his office, and the goal of this meeting was to talk a little bit about ways that the President wanted to strengthen legislation that had already been moving through the House and the Senate, and that DEMOS had been advocating for several years. Now, if that all seems a little too inside the Beltway, we recently also this week found out that the DEMOS website was mentioned as a resource in O Magazine. That's Oprah Magazine, if you know, as a great resource for individuals to find information on important topics of public affairs. So it seems like the seeds that we have been busy planting at DEMOS for 9 years, a robust combination of ideas and research and sophisticated communications and advocacy work are really now bearing fruit. And it's wonderful to be a part of that. And I want to take this opportunity to thank all of our supporters who are in this room tonight for helping us along the way. This night is really a celebration of our institution as much as it is a celebration of all of you. Now, there were many people involved in helping make this event a success, and I can't mention all of you by name, but there are a few that I would like to take just a moment to thank briefly. So the first is our major sponsors, many of whom are here tonight, Citi, William Graustein, Jonathan and Jennifer Allen Soros, Roy Ulrich, the American Federation of Teachers, Jane and Bill Donaldson, the Laborers International Union of North America, and finally, the United Federation of Teachers. I also want to thank the event chairs, Ann Bartley, Juan Figueroa, Roger Van, and Hope Rockland-Crook. And a big thanks to dozens of people who served on our host committee. One more thank you. I want to thank everybody who donated something to the silent auction. And if you haven't noticed, there is a silent auction in the back corner of the room, my left, all of yours right. I encourage you to stop by and bid on something. There's lots of great political art and memorabilia. There's fine art. There's gift certificates to fabulous restaurants. But the bidding stops at 8:30, so please be sure to take a moment and walk through the auction. And finally, I really want to take a moment to acknowledge an incredible staff at Demos, and that we have to clap about. We have an incredible staff. These individuals are some of the brightest, most passionate people you'll ever meet and that I've ever worked with, and it has made Demos a one-of-a-kind place to get up and go to every morning, and I am honored to work with them every day. Now, our staff for the last 8 years has been led by an incredible duo of leadership, Miles Rappaport, who's the president of Demos. You're going to hear from him later in the program. But also by Stephen Heinz, who is our board chair. And in his day job, he is also the president of the Rockefeller Brothers Fund. Stephen has been such a vital part of Demos' success. He has supported us, he's challenged us, and most importantly, he has really inspired us to create an organization that is defined by integrity and by impact. And I want to thank you for that, Stephen. Now, Stephen and Miles are going to be handing out the awards to our honorees tonight. We have 3 fabulous individuals who are worthy of our recognition, and it's wonderful we're going to pause tonight to celebrate their lifelong achievements. We have a special gift for them that I just want to briefly give you a little background about. Each of our honorees is going to be getting a print of Ralph Fasanella's. Okay. In case you don't know who Ralph Fasanella is, the artwork's right up here. He was really an icon of American folk art. After years as serving as a rank-and-file worker, he went on to become one of the greatest chroniclers of American working life. His prints have become collector's items, and we're delighted to present them as gifts to our honorees tonight. So please join me in welcoming Stephen Heinz, who will present our first award.